Heyo, welcome to Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel.
And I'm coming to get you, Barbara. How you doing, Josh?
Good. You forgot to say your name.
No, I'm Barbara for the episode. It's fine.
Okay, sure.
We'll roll with that. People, first of all, people can read. It's on
It's
the
true. Who
podcast.
cares?
Who cares? Call me whatever you want. I'm the voice in your head telling you to do things. What about you, Josh? What's up?
Not much. I just had a little trip to Pacific Grove, which is up by Monterey. Very peaceful, cute little coastal town. It kind of is giving the fog, you know? So I'm very relaxed and I feel recuperated.
That's great.
From nothing. I do nothing all day, every day. But I needed a vacation.
I wasn't going to say it.
How are you?
Oh my god, I'm good. I might be the opposite. I might have had the opposite week though. So it's been a minute since we recorded, and in that time I've signed a lease on a new house.
Yay!
So whoop whoop, and like when I say a house, I mean it's a house, like a freestanding domicile. I can't believe it. So I'm very, very happy. It is in fabulous Burbank, California, which I can
down.
I can finally live in the place of where dreams are made. It's great. It's really, really beautiful and cozy. And was owned by an old Italian woman and looks it because it's full of like gold crackle mirrors and like wood paneled walls and like Italian tile throughout the kitchen and stuff. It's like stupid gorgeous. I'm really, really, really excited to be moving in there. However, it's been an insanely stressful week getting everything figured out because we signed the lease and then it was like, okay, you'll move in 3 weeks. We'll give you the keys a week early. And so we've just been on top of my already wild schedule of work. We have now been packing relentlessly every single day. And I own a lot of shit.
Yeah, you're a big collector of stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to purge a lot of that as much as I can. So in the coming weeks and months, you, Josh, and a lot of other friends will be getting some gifts from me.
Hell yeah.
Of like, here's some shit. Getting rid of stuff, here's some shit. But both Ivory and I have kind of collector or pack rat mentalities of like, oh, shiny thing. I want shiny thing. I want to hold shiny thing. I want to put it on a shelf and then have it there.
You should start an Etsy.
Yeah, probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
I mean, my friend on Blue Sky started doing it, and I was like, I should do that because I have a storage unit full of vintage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like not even room for it in my house, and it's just in a storage unit.
I literally, before recording this episode, dropped off 2 Portos bags full of DVDs at Amoeba and 2 large bags of vintage clothes over at Squaresville. Like, yeah, we're in purge territory.
Yeah.
But it's great. It makes me feel good about myself. And it's also like, this is the exercise I've needed. This is like the Nathan for you exercise routine of moving boxes that like genuinely seems to be working and making me feel better. But for the time being, my house is like barren. And it's just like Home Depot boxes piled up as far as the eye can see. So I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm short on funds because it's all tied up in the move. Mm-hmm. But it's all about to be so goddamn worth it.
That house is really cool looking. So very upscale 1970s.
Yeah.
Yeah, very adorable.
It's like everything but a conversation pit. So we'll be digging soon. We're very thrilled. So, you know, I'll probably be talking about my new house in upcoming episodes. But yeah, it's gonna be good. We'll, you know, I'll have you over for a housewarming party or something. Anyway, have you been watching anything in your little gentle reprieve?
I have actually. This is something that you won't be interested in at all, but maybe someone else will be. one of the very well established differences between your taste and my taste is that I love fantasy movies and you don't.
Oh yeah. I was like, the entire time you were like vamping to that, I was like, I'm about to tell Josh he's so wrong. He doesn't get me at all. We both like a lot of the same stuff.
We
Where is
do,
he
of
coming
course.
from? And then you got to that, and I was like, no, he's right.
You say it all the time that every time I talk about a fantasy movie, you're like, I don't really like fantasy. But last night I rewatched a movie from my childhood that I haven't seen in over 30 years. So I was like, very small when I saw this movie. And it was really good to rewatch it with the context of being a middle-aged person who knows a lot about movies. The movie I'm talking about is 1981's Clash of the Titans.
Oh yeah, the Ray Harryhausen one.
Yeah. So, it is the last movie that the legendary Ray Harryhausen worked on before he passed. So it has all of his like stop motion work in it. And I guess I kind of didn't realize as a kid that the movie is like nostalgic and throwbacky because, in 1981, we're like deep into sort of Star Wars territory, blockbuster territory, where everything is trying to look real. And this movie instead decided to go back to 60s sword and sandal movies and work with Ray Harryhausen. He actually co-produced the movie, so it's like kind of his baby. So it's intentionally doing these like kind of fakey but charming throwback special effects. And I just, it's so charming and it looks so great. And the other thing about it that I'll say is I've remembered how when I was a little gay boy who wanted to play with dolls, I was obsessed with the gods and goddesses because through the whole movie, they're just hanging out in this like chic marble palace and they have a little doll of every man and woman alive. And they just pick up the doll and talk about that mortal person. It's like they're gossip. It's like they're playing with dolls, and the dolls are people. And I was obsessed with it as a child, and I was obsessed with it last night. I was like, this should be a TV show. It's just like the gods and goddesses gossiping and playing with dolls, and the dolls are real people on Earth.
Yeah, people whose lives they're just ruining.
Yeah, it's so good.
I've seen Clash of the Titans, the 81 one. I need to specify that I've not seen the weird like CGI things they made recently. I though have a very weird memory of I was in elementary school, like in school, and we had some kind of a project where like people brought in food from like different countries to like represent, to like learn about multiculturalism. And like you're supposed to bring in food from this country, and it was like this kid's assigned Italy, so he goes to the local grocery store and buys Italian sausages and brings them in. It's like really, really just like a tour of the grocery store, but it's all like made by every kid's parent. Had to be like 3rd or 4th grade. And they were like, okay, cool. Everyone now gets to walk between all the desks and eat the food and have a little party and hang out. And they put on Clash of the Titans.
Oh,
and I was
cute.
And I remember being like, this is interesting, but what the fuck does this movie have to do with anything we're doing?
I mean, I don't think you can really claim that Clash of the Titans speaks to contemporary Greek culture. If that is the claim. But I guess it's it's history, but it's actually not history because it's fantasy.
No, it's myth. We weren't covering mythology or anything like that. It was just like, here's a thing. It's PG, I guess.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since then, so I don't know if
it's really fun. And it's got some great actors. I mean, Laurence Olivier plays Zeus.
Holy shit.
Maggie Smith is in it as one of the goddesses. And it has that quality of like anything from Succession to Game of Thrones, where the gods are like backstabbing one another and mad at each other, and they're like using the mortals as like you would use a child in a divorce against one another. And so anything that has that element, I'm like so there. I love Game of Thrones. I love Succession. I love Dune. I love anytime when there's like warring factions, warring families that are like backstabbing each other and double crossing each other. I'm all over that.
Mm-hmm.
So it has that quality too. It's a super fun movie. I think it's legitimately good. It was a huge flop, I think, in 1981.
Yeah, famously, it was a pretty big flop. It like didn't do well.
But it's great. And I looked at Letterboxd and all the reviews are at least 3 stars, but mostly like 4 stars. It's good and it deserves a reappraisal. It's very charming.
My my stated and recorded like disconnection with fantasy movies aside, I weirdly have a really big love for Ray Harryhausen films.
Sure. I mean,
I'm
how could you not?
obsessed with them. I love this Golden Voyage of Sinbad. I love Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. I love Mysterious Island. I love
Golden Fleece, Jason and the Argonauts.
I love Jason and the Argonauts. I have 2 copies of. I have a Laserdisc of Jason and the Argonauts. I like, and when I don't know if you went to the LACMA Guillermo del Toro exhibit that they had. There was like Monsters at Home. That was like basically bringing his bleak house and putting it into a museum exhibit. I went multiple times, and one of the like weirdest things about his home and then about that exhibit is that Guillermo del Toro has had like full size wax replicas made of like people he looks up to. And so there's one of like H.P. Lovecraft.
Weird.
Just standing. There's one of like Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster. But then there's one of Ray Harryhausen. And he's seated. He's like sitting in a little like cozy chair. And he's got a little tray over his lap with like tea. He's like having tea. And then there's a bunch of little skeletons running around his teacup and over around his arms. And he's like holding one of them up and looking at them. And when I walked through the LACMA exhibit and was just like looking at everything, I saw that and I stopped and it like brought me to tears. I fully wept looking at this Ray Harryhausen wax sculpture. And I love the man. I love his movies. If every fantasy movie was made by Ray Harryhausen, if Lord of the Rings, Dune were Ray Harryhausen, if Conan was Ray Harryhausen, bitch, I'd be all fucking over those. That's why I love She Is Conan.
Yeah.
The Bertrand Mandico film. I like and of course Legend is like the shit.
It's so beautiful.
I like that stuff. I think it's the gritty fantasy that I'm not into. I think Dune,
low fantasy they call it.
Yeah, I think Dune and Conan and that kind of stuff are in the gritty fantasy sphere, and
one day
that's kind of where I check out.
One day I really want you to watch The Dark Crystal because it's so stylized and it's all puppets and it's nothing else is remotely like it.
I'm crazy overdue for it. It's also one of I know it's your favorite movie ever.
My favorite.
It's one of Ivory's favorite movies. Literally last night we were packing up all of our books and we had to pack up like I think Ivory has multiple like 5 or something Brian Froud books.
Me too. I'm
like
all
designed
over Brian Froud.
All the and like multiple books on The Dark Crystal. And as we were packing up movies and stuff, she was like, "Where's The Dark Crystal?" And I was like, "We don't have it." And she was like, "We need to fix that." And I was like, "Yeah, we've got like 2,000 movies, but we don't have The Dark Crystal."
I have an extra copy on Blu-ray because Michael bought me the fancy one, new Blu-ray. So you can have my old Blu-ray if you want.
Well, fair. If not, I'll go buy the big fancy one.
You should go see it on a big screen because it plays all the time.
It does. I feel like the New Bev does it a lot here in LA.
Yeah, I've seen it twice at New Bev, once at Vidya. Because it's always at like the kid brunch that they have on Sundays. It's cool. So that's me. What about you? Have you watched anything cool?
I did get to go to a super fun rep screening in LA, and it really felt like every gay in Los Angeles was at this screening, and hetero people, but like the entire time at this screening, like before the movie and after the movie, it was nothing but me and my partner hearing our names from around the crowd,
Uh,
or then spotting other friends throughout the crowd, and it just happened all night. Um, but that's because we went to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery and laid out a picnic and went with like another couple friend of ours to watch the Paul Verhoeven masterpiece Showgirls.
oh, I would love to go to that. I have trouble going to the Hollywood Forever things because of
It's
the
a hassle.
line.
It's
It's a
a hassle.
hassle.
It's all day.
I know. It's like such a hassle to get in there, but it's so fun once you're in.
It's a hoot. It's so good. Ivory used to go all the time, so she's got like a game plan set for
Mhm.
it all the time. Where like the day before we go and we buy like picnic food and supplies, and then she already has like tarps and blankets and like all of that stuff to lay out a really gorgeous like picnic spread. And then whoever we're going with, we get them picked up, and then we drop at least one person off in the line around like 5:30. The gates open
Mhm.
at 7.
Yeah.
So at least one person, if not everyone, is in line early. And so we just sit on the ground and hang out in line for an hour and a half, and then you get in, and then you immediately have to like hunt and fight to get a good spot. We got an incredible spot, like dead center. And then you're hanging out until 9 when the movie starts.
Yeah.
So there's always a really well done kind of photo setup that like connects to the movie. And Elizabeth Berkley was there, and for
Yeah, I
$100 you could do a meet and
saw.
greet and stuff like that. She stayed. She was there the entire time before the movie for 2 hours, and then she stayed through the movie. You could get a meet and greet with her while the movie was playing, and then she stayed for another hour and a half after.
Wow.
And Showgirls is not a short film. It's like over 2 hours. But it was incredible. We ran into so many friends the entire evening. It made me so, so, so happy. We got lovely photos taken of us and our friends. And Ivory had never seen Showgirls before, so that's how she saw it for the very
Really?
first time. I know.
What a great movie.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god.
it's so good. It's so funny and wild. I love Paul Verhoeven. We're both on record for loving him.
Oh yeah.
Somebody years ago told me a story about seeing Showgirls opening night at the Egyptian in Seattle, and I don't know how true this is, and I don't remember who the person was because I heard this such a long time ago. There's someone older than me, but they were saying that no one knew that this movie was going to be bad or campy,
Yeah,
right?
it was treated as this big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, and it was going to have the girl from Saved by the Bell, and this was like her sort of serious acting debut,
Mm-hmm.
and so everyone is sat for opening night at Showgirls at this fancy historic theater, and it's like dead silent for I don't know 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then one person starts laughing, and then the whole theater starts laughing. It's just like you can tell that you're like at the birth of a cult film. God, I love that movie. It's so funny.
It's so incredible. You ever miss getting come on?
The dancing is so insane.
Oh, it's so spastic. It's so wild.
Crazy.
The script is god awful.
Awful. Her performance is
A
something
choice.
else. Yeah, lots
Yeah.
of choices are made.
The weird thing is like Paul Verhoeven directing is doing a great job. Gina
Yeah.
Gershon's performance is Gina Gershon knows exactly what movie she's in.
Yeah.
Kyle MacLachlan is I feel like he was better as a heavy in the Flintstones than he is in Showgirls. And God love him, but it's such a mess of a movie, and it's like such a perfect gem of a cult film. It was so great. Rena Riffle was also there, who plays
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Penny Hope.
Yeah.
She sat with her friend Lottie, like
There's
so crazy.
there's a thing that you do in theater that is called like sometimes like a speed through or an Italiano run, which is like where you just do the play really fast,
At like Howard
fast
Hawks
and big
speed.
as you can. Yeah, and it's just about like getting the blocking in your body and just getting a practice in, etc. It feels like Elizabeth Berkley is doing that all the way through Showgirls. It feels like she's racing through the movie for some reason, and just like marking it. It's like
Yeah.
the shape of a performance without the depth or the feeling. You know?
There was there were so many people like around us on like similar blankets and stuff throughout the movie, like very very like cute funny gay couples. And at one point in the movie, the person like right next to us turned to their friend and went, "This is just a movie about a woman who storms out of every room she's in."
Exactly.
And it is. It
Yeah.
fully is. There was also someone who sat kind of near to behind us that recited every single line of
Oh my
dialogue.
god.
And I will say, in any
That's
other
annoying.
movie, I would have found that insufferable. But
Uh-huh.
weirdly, it kind of worked. Because we were already in the party atmosphere that I was like
Right.
totally fine with it.
Sure.
But they were like, through most of the scenes, they were like, lip syncing along with Elizabeth Berkley. And then there's a scene when she comes back from having sex with Kyle MacLachlan and she's just on a couple lines of blow to start her day. And she goes back to like the trailer that she lives with her best friend. And she's like, "Oh, I need to find a little bit of food to start my day. I need to find a little something." And then she goes, "Uh-oh, chips." And she like grabs a bag of chips and starts eating them. And the guy who'd been like quoting every line, who was quoting every line up until then, just turned to his friend and went, "I love chips." And weirdly, that got one of the biggest laughs from the audience than anything in the movie.
I also love chips. I feel him.
He's not wrong.
They're so good.
Anyway.
Chips is exactly how I feel whenever I see chips.
Showgirls is great. It was such
Great
a treat
movie.
to do that.
Yeah.
I did get to see a new release this week that I want to mention as well, because it is just as funny, if not funnier, and is absolutely insane. And Josh, I think you would really like it. And it's the new biopic documentary on the band Pavement, titled Pavements.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know this existed.
From director Alex Ross Perry, who made Listen Up, Philip, and Her Smell. One of my favorite working directors. And he's been working with Pavement since around 2022, 2021, making a doc about them, but treating it as if Pavement is the biggest band in the world. Which to some people they are.
Yeah.
And so it's a documentary on Pavement. It's also kind of a documentary on Pavement's 2022 reunion tour and about them coming back together. It is also in fitting with the tone of the movie as they're the biggest, most influential band of all time. They have also produced, and as part of the movie, them producing a full biopic called Range Life about Pavement, starring Joe Keery as Stephen Malcolmus and featuring Jason Schwartzman and Tim Heidecker
wow.
as like the reps for Matador. And then also in fitting with Pavement as the biggest band in the world, they put on, part of it is also about them putting together a New York City art gallery show of memorabilia from the band.
Wow.
And then also part of that is they put on a full, and about developing, putting on, and casting a full off-Broadway musical, like a la American Idiot.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's like full of like it's fully giving the musical theater treatment to like Cut Your Hair and like Pavement songs. And they didn't like cut corners at any point. The musical, like the lead is the lead from the American Idiot musical, and then Zoe Lister-Jones from like it's it's fully committed. It like from Joe Keery's insane performance as you watch him almost Nathan Fielder style become Stephen Malcolmus to be like the most efficient method actor in the world. Like sneaking photos of his tongue to take back to a vocal coach and shit like that. It's but then also like the archive footage of them throughout the movie is also deeply funny. It feels like one of the only documentaries, rockumentaries, biopics on a band that accurately gets the tone of the band they're discussing, while also it's one of the only few like rock films, documentaries, biopics, whatever, that gets the tone of the band that it's about, while also being very much a post Walk Hard rock doc or biopic that's like, we know how stupid and absurd this is and we're leaning into it. It's so goddamn good. As like
good.
a lifelong Pavement fan since I was in high school, I like was blown away. We saw it's been playing for like a full like run at the Los Feliz 3 through the American Cinematheque. I think it's still there.
Yeah.
If you want to catch it, it's so good. And it's photographed by Robert Kolodny, who directed The Featherweight, who is one of the most talented dudes in the world. The movie looks absolutely stunning. It's genuinely shot on film. It's like really, 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 really beautiful. And there's a Chili John's cameo for us in LA. Made me very, very, very happy and very, very, very hungry to see Stephen Malcolm at Chili John's.
That sounds good.
It's great. Ivor and I have been quoting it to each other all week. There's so much insane shit in there. There's a great archival interview with the band where the interviewer is asking them like, you're such an interesting band because it seems like you guys actively go out of your way to avoid success, that you're trying to just be a fringe band. And I find that really, really compelling and interesting. And they're just like, no, we're trying really hard. This popular. Is us trying. It's so good. There's a great sequence where it goes into split screen, and on one side of the screen is the Joe Keery biopic, extremely dramatic scene where they're having an extremely important conversation about the trajectory of the band, and then on the other side of the screen is the actual behind the stage footage from '98 at their like one of their last shows, and it's literally them just drunk hanging out, like throwing mud at each other. And like getting the two at the same time is so goddamn funny, and it so brilliantly deconstructs like the music biopic, and the fact that there's a fucking Bruce Springsteen one coming down the trail in the wake of this just is ludicrous.
I can't wait to see this.
I loved Pavements. I highly recommend you go see it. I think you, Josh, are gonna love it a lot.
Yeah, it sounds good.
After we saw it, we went and hung out with some friends, and we were telling them what we had seen, and one of our friends was like, "Oh, who's Pavement? What's Pavement?" And we were like, "What?" And then kind of explained a little bit, and then we turned to another friend and we're like, "Do you like Pavement?" And she just went, "Yeah, I'm 40." And we were like, "Yep,
yeah,
yep."
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, today we are discussing a very 101 film. I mean that in the best possible way. That sounded shady, but I mean it as a compliment. This is like one of the most important horror films of all time, one of the most important independent films of all time, and one of the best examples of regional filmmaking. It is also probably definitely our very first like genuine zombie movie somehow after all these years of the podcast. I'm talking, of course, about from 1968, George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead.
Welcome to a night of total terror. Night of the living dead, the dead who live on living flesh. The dead whose haunted souls hunt the living whose bodies are the only food for these ungodly creatures.
I first saw this as a little tiny boy. I kind of do remember seeing it on TV as a little kid, but it's one of those movies that even if you haven't seen it, you kind of get it because it was public domain for so long. So like often when someone in a movie is watching a horror movie on television, it's going to be Night of the Living Dead because it's free use. So you'll get a lot of clips of it that way. In fact, the Sabrina
I was gonna
pilot
say,
had
yeah.
Night of the Living Dead in it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those movies like, It's a Wonderful Life or something where you just like know it by osmosis.
Yeah, it kind of is the It's a Wonderful Life of horror movies.
Yeah.
I also saw it on TV for the first time, but I've told this story before partially when we did Silence of the Lambs, because I watched it immediately after seeing Silence of the Lambs in like middle school on Halloween.
Yeah.
I had been watching Silence of the Lambs at a friend's house. Some fucked up shit happened and I left early. And I went back home and TCM was like showing Night of the Living Dead on TV for the very first time on TCM, like some restored version or something. And so I just sat down and watched Night of the Living Dead for the first time. And it was a movie that even at age like 14 or whatever when I saw it, I already had the feeling of like, well, I know this. I feel like I've seen this because it's referenced so much. It pops up in The Simpsons and Courage the Cowardly Dog, and it is everywhere. The name Night of the Living Dead is so like classic and simple and is everywhere. And it's by, I must have been like 2008 when I watched it for the first time. The concept of like zombie movies was already everywhere and like on the verge of blowing up. I think it was a year or two out from Zombieland. We were a couple years after Shaun of the Dead, which of course is like one of the biggest love letters to Romero's films ever made. And this movie is like deeply, deeply, deeply impressive in the same way as Carnival of Souls that this was birthed. Like simply, it did so much, and it's one of the most important artifacts of regional filmmaking. But on the other hand, with time, looking back 50 plus years, it very easily quickly looks like that just has been around. That like it just feels like the Odyssey and the Iliad. Like it's just part of our cultural texts. It exists, and we refer to it. We don't discuss it, right?
And yet, it's not. I mean, Romero really did create this. I mean, he was sort of inspired by I Am Legend by Richard Matheson, which is a science fiction novel. Which is, I mean, it's a pretty far jump from that to this. Like
it's a science fiction vampire novel.
Yeah,
like it is a big jump, but at the same time, you can it's also almost a distillation of what's happening in I Am Legend, and to a degree, like if you think about the soundtrack to Night of the Living Dead, which is all like stock library music that he just pulled off of like Capitol Records. A lot of the music cues that he's using are shit that would have been or was used in like sci-fi movies.
Yeah. I mean, there's a sci-fi element to this as well, because the assumption that the supposition that the movie makes is that this satellite exploding in outer space is what is causing this to happen.
The strange radiation creeping across the nation.
Yeah. So there is a sci-fi element to this. This must have felt, and I know it felt this way because of just reading about it in 1968, it felt so gruesome and radical and it is pretty gory. I mean, that little girl killing her mom is fucked up. People eating intestines out of bodies. Like, it must have just felt like so fucked up and disgusting and gruesome. It's such a good movie. Do you like this movie? I mean,
I do like this movie. I have a weird relationship with zombie movies, and I think it's a few things. I should also note that going into this episode, I've had like zombie related nightmares for like the past few weeks, and
I always have zombie nightmares. I'm scared of zombies.
I'm extremely scared of zombies. And when I was younger and I was like in middle school, high school and stuff like that, dude, Shaun of the Dead was on Comedy Central all the time, played on TV all the time. I watched that movie a ton. I watched Night all the time. I watched Dawn a lot. I watched Day of the Dead with my friend Ren, who was the drummer in my band at the time. The two of us would get together and hang out in their basement and watch Day of the Dead, and that was like one of the bleakest, most depressing movies ever. And we just like have a time.
Depressing.
We'd be like 16 and like chugging down Mountain Dew, and like all of that was great and cool and fine. And I also loved Diary of the Dead, one of his like later entries.
I haven't seen it.
A lot of people hate that movie, and I probably wouldn't like it.
I saw Land of the Dead in the theater. That was the last one that I watched, and not my favorite.
I don't like Land of the Dead. And I don't know. I like loved horror, as I still do today, and zombies were really big at the time. Zombieland was a fun ride in the theaters when I saw it at the time. And I remember when I was first kind of being like, oh, I would love to make movies. I feel like that would be a fun thing to do. A lot of the first few scripts I wrote were zombie movies. Like multiple. And I don't know what happened. At some point in my life, a switch flipped and I was like, nope, it's too much. These movies are this genre of these movies are too much. They're scary. The idea of like a virulent plague is like mortifyingly, it's like one of my biggest fears in the world. And that's, you know, predating the fact that we actually had a global pandemic.
We lived through one. Yeah.
Like that really, 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 really heinous fear. But then also the fact that on the whole, most zombie movies have the same ending. Not that this one does. Of like, well, world's over. Might as well kill yourself. Like, that's fucking depressing. And like, I just want to say, while there's a big zombie show on TV right now. Well, technically like 3, because there's also a bunch of Walking Dead spinoffs right now.
Yeah.
And there's a big new zombie franchise movie out in theaters this week too. That it's not for me
this weekend.
It's not for me anymore. And other than like the classic Romero films, or like I don't count the like weirdo Fulci movies and Cemetery Man.
No, we're not counting those.
That's
we're not counting.
Totally different.
That's
and
a
of course,
thing.
same thing with like Haitian voodoo zombies. That's also that's a totally different species of anything. But like the virulent plague Romero zombie movie thing, anything like that, I can't do it. I can't, I won't, and I don't. I don't. I won't see the new 28 whatever
years later.
Sure. 28 months.
Which had a great trailer. I mean, the trailer is really scary for that movie. I'm seeing it on Sunday. I can't wait.
It's getting good reviews.
Joel is the same as you. He's too scared of zombies. We watched Return of the Living Dead once, which is a comedy.
Yeah.
He found it very frightening. He would not watch this week with me. He found it too scary. I like zombie movies. I do think that as a subgenre, it has the greatest hit rate of actually being scary. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at an age where when I was growing up, zombie movies were not that popular. And so in the 2000s, when we got 28 Days Later and the Dawn of the Dead remake, it felt like Shaun of the Dead. It felt like a breath of fresh air because they were throwbacks to something that I didn't experience firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really exciting. I have zombie fatigue now, and I think a lot of people who watch a lot of horror are starting to have zombie fatigue in the way that some of us felt in the 2000s about vampires, like coming out of like Twilight and stuff like that. A lot of people were like, oh God, just like give us a break from vampires for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel that way about zombie movies now, but that is, that has nothing to do with this movie, which is so brilliant all the time, at any time. But I do like zombie movies. I especially like this. I especially love the remake of Dawn of the Dead from the 2000s, I think is so
Because you're a big
good and
Snyder
scary.
head.
I'm
You're
a Snyder man.
You're
He's my
like
guy.
Snyder till you die. You want to see a Snyder recut of Night of the Living Dead. You think it'd be a lot better if it had like Limp Bizkit put over it. Like,
listen, it's the only Snyder movie I've ever seen, and it's extremely good.
It is very good. No.
I saw it in the theater on a date, and I was terrified.
It is very good. That's another one that my old drummer and I would watch a lot together. The whole band would watch the Dawn of the Dead remake a lot. And it actually has a very good soundtrack. I will defend Zack Snyder's Watchmen as being a good movie.
I've never seen it,
and
I don't watch superhero movies, and so
I like Sucker
I'll never
Punch.
see that as long as I live.
Even though
I've never seen Sucker Punch either.
Brainless, not a cell in it. And it's stupider than the zombies in Dawn of the Dead.
The first 20 minutes of the Dawn of the Dead remake are
terrifying,
so good. Especially the use of that Johnny Cash song over the opening credits, and just like that 20 minutes is just banging. It's like so terrifying.
And then he made Army of the Dead, and everyone said, "Go away, sir."
I did not watch that. I was like not interested. Although I was interested in one aspect of it because they digitally replaced an actor with
Tig Notaro.
With Tig Notaro,
yeah,
which I think is so interesting that like our technology has progressed enough to do that now.
Only in some scenes. Most of the time they just film Tig Notaro by herself, and then they would just like cut to like Tig Notaro's on the roof hanging out. So it was just like
such a weird thing.
It's such an odd thing, and like that almost got me to watch it because I'm like, oh, I like Tig Notaro. And then I was like,
me too. I like her a lot.
Not enough. I will say some zombie movies are some of my most hated movies of all time. And 28 Weeks Later is one of my most hated movies of all time. Because some of them are so frustratingly contrived to like get characters to do certain things. And Romero's Night of the Living Dead is such a great example of how in a bottle scenario and under extreme and fantastical situations, people are going to be extremely stressed and at each other's throats and whatever people need to do to survive, and it's incredibly stressful, but there's like a balance of humanity and stuff. But there's like choices that happen in movies like 28 Weeks Later that make me so furious that it's like you're throwing away the lives of essentially everyone on Earth because you just can't accept one thing. And it's like, I fucking hate you. I hate these children. Let them get murdered so everyone else can live. Good God, I hate this so much. And then I will also say, recently, Ivory and I were at, there's a horror coffee shop in North Hollywood here in Burbank. And they were showing, they have a TV on that's like constantly showing horror movies. And when we were there recently, they were showing Train to Busan.
I love Train to Busan.
Busan, thank you. And literally,
that's a great movie.
We got so mad.
Really?
In the like 15 minutes we were there getting our drinks, it was probably the end of the movie because it was like the scene that's on all the posters of like running down the tracks and shit like that.
Yeah.
And we were just like furious, and it was like,
oh, I love that movie.
We were like, so many bad choices, so many people are just being assholes. Like it just made us furious, and I'm like, never watching it in full. The like 20 minutes I saw of it are enough. I
love that movie.
Hell no. Made me so mad.
It's a pretty cynical genre, and
it's
this movie is no exception. I mean, generally the point is like, there's a joke about it for Walking Dead, right? Because it's such a cliche, like, oh, The Walking Dead was us the whole time. That's like, that's what you get here. I mean, this is setting the template. So you get a bunch of people who are have boarded up a stranger's farmhouse, and they are under attack from a horde of zombies. I mean, what else do you say about it? But the thing is that they cannot get along inside the house, and that is their undoing. And that's always the thing, right? It's always like our inability as people to get along with each other is our undoing. And typically the zombie horde represents like some version of conformity or repression or some such. I mean, there's a lot of debate about what the zombies in Night of the Living Dead represent, but that's what I've always taken from it.
Yeah. I mean, there's always, especially when you think about a world in 1967, 1968, seeing this movie for the first time, I feel like because these zombies are very, new and original, and it does kind of create the mold of like bitten, turn, kill, continue, that I feel like one of the closer touchstones for audiences would have been like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which was very much a movie about communism and like the Red Scare and the idea that like the evil is among us, the evil is in the house. And so doing that in this movie with a little girl is like the most fucked up way you could do it.
There's also like, I forgot that this is setting the template. And so there's a lot of things in this movie that are not in zombie movies generally. Like they never call them zombies. They call them ghouls.
Flesh eaters and ghouls. Yep.
The zombies use tools over and over again in this movie. The first zombie
picks up a rock
to break the window. The little girl uses a spade or whatever. So I forgot about that. It doesn't come from the bites. It's any recently dead person returns, which is not generally the template these days. So there's all these things that I'm like, oh, right. And then he kind of retconned these things himself in the next movie. So it's like he's working towards something. I kept thinking about, and I did a little joke, like Blue Sky post about it that people thought was funny, but like I was watching this and I was watching them board up their beautiful farmhouse. It was an abandoned farmhouse that was due for demolition, and they just bought it so they could destroy it for the movie. But I was like, we have a housing shortage, and the houses that we do get are so ugly and nasty. Like imagine the whole country is just full of these beautiful farmhouses. Anyway, so I got mad about that. It's like a tear down, and it's so beautiful compared to everything that we have now. And then they're boarding it up. And I was like, we couldn't even do this now because all of our furniture is cheap MDF shit from IKEA. The zombies would get right through it. Like we have to bring
even
back
these
hardwood.
Zombies, which famously are the slowest zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not in the cards. You'd be dead in an hour because they'd get right through your cheap cardboard coffee table.
I mean, as someone who for like almost the majority of my life at this point has lived in apartments or stuff like that, it's always like so many of these movies are very isolated, and it's very because cheap budgets, especially this one. We're out in the middle. It's kind of like Pink Flamingos, and like we're just gonna get a place, and then we're all set up there, and we'll all work out of there. Texas Chainsaw Massacre did that too, and so it's very isolated. But again, like living in apartments and stuff like that for years is always like, oh yeah, if something like this happened, you're just fucked. Like
you're done.
Which
New York City in a zombie apocalypse.
Which is the opening of Dawn of the Dead. It's like you watch the like SWAT teams go through these apartments and also do what happens at the end of this movie at the beginning of Dawn of the Dead as they're just going through just like aimlessly killing people. It doesn't matter.
And Dawn of the Dead, it's like low income housing too at the beginning. So it's all Black and Latino people, which brings us to talking about race in these movies. So this movie famously cast Dwayne Jones, who's an incredible Black actor, as the lead Ben, which is pretty radical to do in 1968. And the part wasn't written for a Black man specifically. It's just that he happened to be the best actor that auditioned.
Yeah.
Because he's really good. His presence, I think, really elevates this movie. Not that the other actors aren't good, but he's like a genuine star. I mean, he just sucks up your attention when you watch this.
He's also the lead in Ganja and Hess. It's like he's a well-established, very, very, very talented actor. He ended up like leading and teaching theater in New York at I think SUNY for like years after this. And like that was his life. He's a theater actor. That is what he wanted to do. He had no interest in really being in movies. These are the guys he knew, and they were making a movie, and okay, he'll come down and do it. And he gives it so much gravitas and seriousness and emotion that I feel like a lot of other independent films, especially independent B movies from this era, are lacking. And it's one of the main reasons this movie has stuck around the
For
decades
sure.
it has.
And, you have to put it in the context of 1968. It is a pretty radical progressive choice on the part of Romero to cast a black actor in this role.
Extremely.
He's such a hero. He's so smart and classy and capable. And it is rightfully seen as like a very cool progressive choice. What I was going to say, thinking of Dawn of the Dead, is like, in terms of race politics, it feels to me like Dawn of the Dead takes like a big step backwards. I mean, it has some really weird race stuff in there. It has like some brown face and yellow face. It I don't know. It just has, if you watch it again now, it's got some really weird stuff going on.
Yeah, the Hare Krishna zombie is like weird.
Yeah.
There's some odd choices in Dawn, but Dawn also has a lot of really, really big and great black actors at the forefront.
Yeah.
Ken Foree is incredible.
Yes.
I know so many people that talk about Romero's casting of Dwayne Jones in this movie as like, well, he wasn't thinking that way at all, and like it was like entirely race blind, and he never thought about that for a minute. He just thought he was the best actor, and like absolutely, he is the best actor,
that's
and
true,
that's why he was cast. But also, it was fully 1967 when they were making this movie. He knew what he was doing by casting this man, and he knew how important that was while making it. I know Romero has since been like, it was whatever, it was nothing, but like that's what he says about everything. So like, grain of salt. There's a great interview.
Think of the time. I mean,
exactly.
MLK was assassinated in 1968.
Literally,
like, that's the backdrop.
Literally, Romero has a story that after they finished the, it was initially going to be called Night of the Flesh Eaters, and then they got sued by a different production that had Flesh Eaters in the title, and so they changed the title to Night of Anubis. And when they finished the Night of Anubis cut, he drove it from Pennsylvania to New York to find a distributor. And he tells a story all the time that he was like literally on the drive to New York to find a distributor to this movie with the film in the trunk. We heard on the radio that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated.
Yeah.
And he was like, I knew, cynically maybe, that as soon as that happened, that people would want to see this movie.
Yeah.
That like that paid off for us. And I was like, yeah, it's fucked up to say, but like, that's like, again, that's the climate it was being made in. And it's, you would have to be willfully ignorant to be making an independent movie in 1968 and to cast a black lead and not know that that would be a deal.
In terms of the aesthetic, the black and white film is obviously so good and important to the movie. I was watching the opening scene and Joel walked through and he's like, it looks campy now. And I was like, I don't think it looks campy, actually. I think it just looks classic. I mean, it's just such a classic. And I will say it's sort of behind the times in a way aesthetically, because it's black and white in 1968. We've mostly moved on to color, but they're working on a low budget. And the fashions of these characters look a few years out of date.
Yeah.
Like 1968, we're like Summer of Love. We're hippies. And our young characters are not that here. These are like good, clean cut Midwesterners. Like Barbara and Johnny have like fashion straight out of like 1965, 64, 66. So they're like a few years out of date. They're like kind of squares.
Well, and the music being library temp music is all like 1950s orchestral or like theremin kind of sci-fi stuff. So the music also doesn't fit what you should be hearing in a late 60s movie. Think about, for instance, another movie that came out around the same time, Blood and Black Lace.
Right.
Blood and Black Lace, an incredible horror film, blazing Technicolor, and has such a like hip jazz score that's still like a tense film score that works for the genre. But you got a lot of bongos, you got a lot of like trumpets and horns. The Night of the Living Dead score is like almost Universal monster movie stuff. It's almost like cheapo Mystery Science Theater 3000 stuff. And literally the same temp music was used in like Teenagers from Outer Space and shit like that. So it genuinely is. But he's just, both those costume choices and the music choices, they're using very, very, very smartly, because it does make it feel A, more timeless, and B, more rural and more accurate. And that's what the kind of low budge black and white cinematography does too, is it gives it more documentary vibe, because that's the only thing that was really being shot on black and white 35 film stock at the time, but then also gives it more of a like news atmosphere, because TV was still black and white at the time, and the only thing you'd be seeing in theaters that was black and white was like newsreels and stuff. So especially when they cut to like the newsreaders talking about what's going on, it feels, even now, it feels very, very, very real. And because the movie is so scrappy and handheld, when you get the like posse walking through the fields near the end, the camera's really low to the ground and shaking and following, and it weirdly does feel really close to the footage that we've seen of like people barring black kids out of schools in the South. From like 5 years earlier.
Or even like Vietnam footage, you know, like, and that's kind of where he's coming from, Romero, right? Like he makes industrials, he makes local television commercials, he makes segments for the news. Weirdly, he makes segments for Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And this is his first feature using the materials he has on hand and sort of guerrilla filmmaking tactics. So it's all kind of that. It's all coming from that background of like making scrappy things for practical purposes, like documentary style footage.
I always think about this movie in relation to another 1960s made by industrial filmmakers, public domain horror classic, Carnival of Souls. And I know I talk about Carnival of Souls a lot because it's the fucking shit. Herc Harvey out in Lawrence, Kansas was also making nothing but industrials, had his team of filmmakers that made like how to stay away from farm equipment and like the best way to throw a touchdown spiral, a little like short films and stuff like that. And they made their first feature as a crew, and they were also going to make you know, a supernatural horror film with a blonde woman kind of at the centerpiece of it. Also with kind of like weird dated music. And it's interesting that Living Dead caught on faster and became almost, it was an instant hit, and Carnival of Souls was much more of a slow burn hit. And I think it's the like graphic brutality of Night of the Living Dead is part of that. This is
more extreme.
Much more extreme. B, the monster quality of it, of like, is a big, big, big deal. Birthing the genre in the creature, but simply having a creature. But also I think part of it might be because Romero and company and everyone at Image 10 were leaning into the practices they were already good at, which were these scrappy, independent, almost documentary filmmaking, whereas Herc Harvey and crew out in Kansas had really high ambition. Not that that's bad. Not that that's bad in the least. It's one of the things that makes that movie as magical as it is. Movie. But he's gone on record as saying that they were angling for like Bergman and Cocteau. Meanwhile, Romero and company were just angling for, I guess, John Cassavetes, if not like the news. Or simply just to get it made. And I think both of those tones match the stories perfectly. But I think that scrappier, rougher, you know, you could say dogma energy, it works for Night of the Living Dead in a way that's more accessible. Especially in the late 60s for an audience. I mean, if you were born in the mid to early 50s and you went to a drive-in at 1968 with your honey around
your
your
honey,
arm in your
your
little
best girl.
convertible. Yeah. Like, and you pulled into this instead of like Vincent Price in a robe walking through a Technicolor Edgar Allan Poe set. Like, it would
Not what
freak
you
you
were
the fuck
expecting.
out. It would freak
Yeah,
you the
this
fuck
movie
out.
scares me still. Like I find the opening scene genuinely creepy when you
Yes.
see the very first zombie in the distance and
Yeah.
they're walking. I mean, I find all of that genuinely unsettling.
The editing is so good. I remember seeing it for the very, 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 very first time. And there's a handful of major scenes I remember from the movie from that first time, and a handful of impressions. Of course, the ending made a big impression on me. The opening made a big
ending is
impression
super
on
sad.
me. But there's one shock moment in the movie that's always stayed with me. And it's funny since then seeing the original trailers for this movie because it's all over the trailer. They repeat it a lot, which is when Barbara's like walking through the house and goes up the stairs to see what's on the second floor and sees the
Yeah.
dead body up there. The
With its
rhythm
face chewed off.
and the cutting of that scene is so brilliant. It's very, very slow. It's very, very mechanical. You get the kind of like reverse shot editing. And then cutting suddenly to the corpse, but all cutting on a zoom in at the same time makes it feel even faster and tighter. It's so good. It's such a well-earned shock. It's also, you can see the DNA of that scene. You can trace it back to like the bus from Cat People, but you can trace it forward to the underwater corpse in Jaws.
Yeah.
Which again is another scene that when I saw that movie as a child, that was like the main scene I could never forget because it scared the shit out of me. And similarly, they both are kind of like in the middle of the movie. And it's a kind of nothing happens shock, but it is a genuine shock.
I was just thinking of the eye behind the door in Black Christmas. Is that kind of shocking moment too? It's the same kind of engineered scare. You have to engineer a scare in filmmaking, right?
Oh,
like
absolutely.
It's all in the way it's filmed, and then especially the way that it's cut. It's like they are very almost scientific. And so, yeah, you're totally right.
This really, I mean, to your 101 point, I mean, it birthed a genre. It also, this movie changed the way horror filmmaking existed and the levels and boundaries to which you could show and push with horror filmmaking. Psycho did that, as we talked about, in 1960, totally changed the game, again in black and white. And then this comes again at the end of the decade and blows the barn doors open once again. A few years later, Tobe Hooper would do it again.
Texas Chainsaw is totally the same thing, yeah.
And so it has all of that, but at the same time, I genuinely think this is a film school 101 movie too, where it's so well made and on such a tight budget that it's a perfect one to teach editing, music choices, acting, screenwriting, blocking, even some of the like sloppier camera work. The blocking is perfect. Like them all standing around the TV to kind of see what's happening. You can see everyone in frame in the back of the room and you get like nice depth. It's a small house and they're tightening it off even more by not going upstairs. And yet the whole movie more or less takes place in there and it never feels repetitive, and it intentionally feels claustrophobic, but it never feels like, I don't know, it never gets tiring. You like it's at a pace and it's shot interestingly enough and blocked well enough, because once everything's boarded up on the sides, there's the tension of like those are now hot spots, right? Like when you watch animation, you can see the cell of like that's the book they're gonna pull off the shelf. It feels like at any moment a hand could reach through that window, and then they do. Like it's really well put together. It's really, really, really ingenious.
You mentioned Barbara. I wanted to ask you, what do you think of Barbara? Because I've mostly always found her super annoying and unlikable in my life, but watching it this week, I kind of liked her. I kind of came full circle and I was like, oh, I get this. Like,
Yeah.
My take was always that she was like a weak throwback female character who's catatonic for large parts of the movie, which is true. But this time I wasn't as annoyed by her, and I gave her more grace.
Yeah, I mean, I think Judith O'Dea, first of all, is
I think
gorgeous.
she's a good actor.
I think she's
good.
Very good actor. I also, the first time I watched this, I did start to find her annoying, but that was around the time that Ben shows up, and then Ben kind of takes over.
And Ben's annoyed by her too, so you're kind of like experiencing it through him. We're just like, shake this bitch, punch her. I love when he punches her in the face.
He gets to slap everybody.
Yeah.
It's great. I do have a lot more sympathy with her because, I mean, this is, first of all, an insane situation. And I think also everyone is having different reactions to this. And it's really important to have someone be at their limit. And because she is our introductory character and she's the character that we follow the majority of the movie, or at least like brings us into the world of the movie, we've seen everything through her eyes, and it makes sense that she would be that catatonic and like almost useless at this stuff. But I think part of the reason that we as an audience have frustration with her is because we as an audience have seen what she's gone through and we're still here, but that's because we're on the other side of a screen. So it's very easy for an audience member to be like, oh, fuck it, pick yourself up and do that thing. Which part of the anxiety of zombie movies, horror movies in general, but zombie movies specifically, is that you as an audience member are watching something happen and there's either a ticking clock or a creature coming or something, and which is forcing people into action, and you as an audience member are passive, sitting on a couch or in a chair or wherever, watching this thing happen in front of you, and you are feeling the anxiety secondhand, but there's nothing you can do about it. So it's very, 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 very easy to get very, very frustrated with characters in zombie movies and be like, Jesus Christ, don't you know what you're doing? You need to fucking go, run, board that thing up, leave them behind. What are you doing? And with bad zombie movies, you get more of that frustration and more of that, oh my God, Jesus Christ. I don't feel that with her anymore. I have full sympathy for her. And I don't find this movie frustrating. It's tense and thrilling, but I don't find it frustrating in the way that I find really shitty zombie movies. Like, character choice is extremely frustrating because no one acts like that. You're doing that so that character can die. I can feel the keys of the screenwriter being hit as they say asinine lines.
Yeah. Anything else to say about Night of the Living Dead before we move on?
I think it's really, really great, and I also just want to say I love the look of that first zombie, and especially as he comes back. Throughout the movie, like the torn suit
whole first
is so
scene
perfect.
is so good. The whole first scene is so good. Like, I thought of you when Johnny is wearing black leather driving gloves, which is very Drusilla coded. I mean, the look of Johnny and Barbara just in and of itself is just so classic. That's why Joel's classic. Like, it's campy. It's like, no, it's not campy. It's classic. Like, perfectly classic.
And again, to the point of the costume designing of this movie being very intelligent, you signify Johnny with those driving gloves that when you see his zombie come back later in the film, the first thing in frame is that driving glove at the door. Like, he puts so much emphasis on that, which is such a smart way of doing that, because we're putting him in makeup, we're putting him in a zombie horde, we need to stand him out and pop him off the screen a little bit. I will say quickly that one of the great things about movies being public domain is that we as an audience have more power over them, and they're more proliferated throughout the culture. So they are able to be, seen through cultural osmosis, like It's a Wonderful Life and those things, and kind of become part of our DNA. I am very pro public domain. I love that this is a staple. There's so many great films in the public domain. This is one of them. And one of the great things about being public domain is it's really easy to get your hands on a copy, probably not a good copy, but a copy of it. And that's great for teaching and learning and getting your hands on a thing. When I was in film school, I took a sound design and music scoring class. And one of the exercises we did was we took that cemetery scene from the beginning of the movie when the zombie's throwing the rock at the car, which I love that it takes him a while. I love the tension of that. And we were given like an MOV file of that scene without audio. And we had to bring it back like a week later or whatever.
That's so fun.
Fully scored and sound designed. So
That's
you
so
had
fun.
to like get something to like bang like a rock against glass, and you had to get someone to grunt like the zombie, and you had to get someone to scream like Barbara, and like you had to like have the sound of that 60s car door closing, like, and you had to put the score on it. It's such a great way to teach that. I love this movie. I think there's few movies that are as successful as this movie while being as like artistically challenged by their material, as well as being deeply influential, as well as being like kind of like anarchist cookbook kind of like, here, go out and make your shit. It's incredible. To this day, it's still my favorite of Romero's
mine too.
zombie films.
My favorite zombie movie, probably.
Yeah, I do love Shaun of the Dead, though.
I love Shaun of the Dead. I guess I hold comedies like in a separate category a little bit, but maybe I shouldn't. I just think it's literally iconic, not in like the gay slang way, but like in the literal sense. Like every moment of this movie is an icon of the genre.
But also, Barbara does slay Boots' house down.
She does.
So
yes, exactly, and so does Johnny too. I mean, also his gloves and those glasses, pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I will also say, shout out to Helen Cooper. You deserve better, honey, than your shitty fucking husband and your shitty fucking daughter.
He's the worst character. That's the character that I hate, is the husband in the basement.
Yeah, the bald man named Harry.
Yeah.
That the movie clearly hates.
Yeah. I mean, he is the antagonist.
Yeah.
Clearly. Well, let's move on and play our favorite game, Have They Seen It?, where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen the movie.
Dude, who hasn't seen this movie?
It's so classic, but so here's my thinking. A lot of very, very old people or a lot of very, very young people. So I was thinking 1968, the Hollywood studio system has basically fallen. Mm-hmm. We're firmly in New Hollywood. This is a gross out independent movie from Pittsburgh. Do you think the biggest movie star of all time, arguably Elizabeth Taylor, ever got around to seeing Night of the Living Dead?
The idea of like her and Burton going to a drive-in together to go see Night of the Living Dead is so
They were not
funny.
going to drive-ins at all.
No! They were going to bars. Oh my god. I think she has seen this movie, but I think she saw it in the 80s on TV.
80s on television. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's
She's
how
like
she would have seen
full on like moo territory by this point, and like long retired, just doing White Diamonds commercials.
The point,
hanging out with Michael Jackson.
The point at which like she and Divine were like ships in the night, like in which they kind of became one another. Yeah.
Do you know who also looks like Elizabeth Taylor now? And I love this person, so I don't necessarily mean it to be cruel, but Robert Smith of The Cure looks like late career Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes, he does. I've been saying this for a minute now. Yeah. Love him to death. Good for him.
Me too. So we think Elizabeth Taylor saw this in the 80s.
Yeah, I think she did. I think she had like a little thing of like bonbons next to her. And she was in bed, and it was Halloween, and she said, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
And I think also that she was yelling at the screen the whole time.
I feel like she's not scared by it. I think she's like, "So what?" Puts another bonbon in her mouth.
I mean, she's had to deal with paparazzi crowds in like Italy and England and America for years. I feel like this is just nothing for her.
Yeah.
Trying to think of someone else that would have not seen this. I mean, I can tell you right now that Millie Bobby Brown hasn't, because Millie Bobby Brown hates movies and doesn't watch movies. So that's easy.
Stand her.
That's easy.
Can't stand her.
Well, this is someone that's younger, but is better than Millie Bobby Brown, despite the fact that this person was the lead on a Netflix show for a little while, featuring Not Living Dead, but was also famous for being on a show set in the 1960s. Do you think Kiernan Shipka, Sabrina herself, has seen
You're
Not
such
Living
a
Dead?
bitch, because that's what I was going to do next.
I love to win.
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think you've seen it?
No, but that's not to speak ill of her, because she is a very smart, classy person with cool taste. I know her personally. She's
you don't think
super
Oz
smart,
Perkins has bullied her into saying it at this point?
Maybe at this point she has. I don't know. Maybe she would have here's the thing about Sabrina. I have a lot of things to say about that show, both good and bad. But one thing that is definitely on the good side is that she worked her fucking ass off.
You can see it. You can tell.
She understood that this was her big chance. And she just we shot overnight all the time. So it's like this 19-year-old girl is covered in blood, freezing cold, 3 a.m, and never had a negative thing to say to anybody, knew everyone's name. She was just like, I've just very rarely seen an actor work so hard and set such a good example. And so for that reason, actually, I'm going to take back my answer and say, yes, she has seen it.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, absolutely.
She's the best. I have so much adoration for her. I think she's so talented, so kind, so smart and cool. I just fucking love that kid.
Yeah. I think she's incredible. And I think she's one of the best contemporary female actresses we have, both in and out of the horror sphere. I think between her and Catherine Newton, the final
Catherine
girl,
Newton's so good.
Setup is locked in. We're good. I don't even have to ask if Catherine Newton has seen Not Living Dead. I'm 1,000% certain.
I'm sure.
She has.
Yeah. I have someone in mind who is disdainful, disgusting, low down, vile. Unfortunately, he's an Angelino, which is easy to forget. He is responsible for the occupation of LA currently. Do you think Stephen Miller has seen Night of the Living Dead?
Oh, that little fucking weasel?
Yeah.
Ew, I hate that fucking piece of shit. You're right. Yeah. That is a low down
the ice raids are all his, dream child. He's literally a Nazi, really. There's been this footage of him running for student council at Santa Monica High that's gone viral because his speech to run for student council is about why should we pick up trash? There are paid janitors to pick it up for us. And the student body is booing him. So he's literally always been this person. Just a fucking weasel Nazi piece of shit.
Well, he went bald.
He's 6 years younger than me, Drusilla.
Jesus
Can you
Christ!
believe that? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, being a stank piece of shit really really comes out through the pores, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I doubt it. He doesn't seem like the kind of person that would watch a black and white movie, first of all. But I will take this moment to say, a lot of Republicans like zombie movies. It's a very libertarian genre. It's a very doomsday prepper. Get your gun. You need to have a gun. Mm-hmm. You need to have a gun because you never know when you're going to need to shoot your neighbor. Kind of and that's also part of the thing that I fucking hate about it. About the
it does have libertarian
movies
vibes
as a genre.
You're right.
This movie significantly less so, because this movie is at the same time very untrustworthy of the police and the news and the it's
a lot of people. So George Romero said at some point that this movie was about one generation overtaking the next, and a lot of people have taken that to mean to be a criticism of hippies because it's 1968. But I don't think he means it like that. I think he means any generation taking over the previous generation. I don't think it doesn't seem to be a criticism of hippies or liberals to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the original math of this film, saying that, oh, the recently dead are returning from the grave to kill the living. It seems like it's the opposite. It seems like it's the greatest generation going to kill the baby boomers.
Oh,
right?
that's interesting.
That's always kind of been my read. And then, you know, a neoliberalist status quo comes in to quell the situation, and restore order. But like, I think it's more interesting to do zombies and in that method as like things that we should be moved past but are still nipping at our heels, like these people that are so near to death but are making massive decisions about the future of the world, essentially.
What are you talking about? I'm kidding.
A fantasy movie from the 60s, Josh. Meanwhile, if you then look at the math of zombie movies from the past 10-20 years, if you look at World War Z, or some of the Danny Boyle 7, things like that, it's more like running hordes of people that, like, the filmmakers we even say are like, the images are loosely based on like underdeveloped countries and like people trying to escape borders, and it's like, why the fuck would you make that then? Like,
right.
Why, like, the idea of then being,
well, you know why.
exactly of like, oh, that plague of zombies that they're trying to come in and break down our wall to kill and eat us and devour us, and all those like massive pile of ugly, disgusting, dirty people out there. It's like, that's a metaphor for immigrants. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. That's like, all that like campaign art for World War Z is just like, it makes me sick. Like, I don't mean like horror movie. I mean like ethically to my soul sick.
It's a pretty fun book, World War Z. I was really disappointed in the movie because I liked the book a lot.
Mel
because
Brooks'
the book
son, right?
Yeah. And it's just there's not really like a big story. It's mostly just vignettes of the zombie apocalypse.
I was going to say, isn't it like almost Cloud Atlas, where it's like you're seeing
Yeah, it's a lot better, but maybe not for a movie adaptation, I guess. But
no, that really would work for a movie adaptation. Do it like shortcuts, like
yeah. I don't know, or like an anthology.
Fucking Soderbergh's Contagion did that better.
Yeah.
Which is a movie I will never watch again, even though it's incredibly well made and is a great film, and you should watch it. But because of my own fears and phobias, I will never watch that movie again, because Jesus fucking Christ. That movie, Contagion, is like all the worst aspects of modern zombie movies, but without the like corpses coming back to life.
Yeah.
Oh, it like, Jesus, I can't. I love Soderbergh. I love that cast. I love that movie, but oof.
Yeah.
Stephen Miller's
so we're saying Stephen Miller's a no, but maybe he would actually really like it a lot because he would think it's like anti-immigrant or something.
I feel like he likes. I don't think he would.
He likes World War Z.
Yeah, he likes World War Z. Yeah.
Got it.
Oh my God, I was on a plane like a year or so ago, and someone was watching World War Z like next to me, and I was like, "What's wrong with you?"
I would watch. That's a perfect place to watch World War Z.
We just got through, are still technically going through a global pandemic, and you were on an airplane watching that. Fuck off.
All right, your turn. Hit me with somebody.
Well, okay. So this is someone that is both a symbol of the old Hollywood to a degree, because he came out of it and he was a major actor in the 1950s and early 1960s, who has connection to end of the world science fiction filmmaking and horror science fiction franchises and filmmaking, but also on a more modern lens has a really big connection with the Republican Party and the NRA. Do you think old Chuck Heston saw Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah.
Speaking of a corpse I would love to see stay in the ground.
I think yes, and I think he probably would like it. Is that crazy?
Really? I would think this
for
is,
those libertarian reasons.
Yeah, I could see that. But I could also see him like siding with Harry the whole time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
being like, this black fella needs to shut up. Like,
I mean, one interpretation of Night of the Living Dead that's pretty common is that it's about the death of like the nuclear American family.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm sympathetic to that. I can see that in the movie. I don't think that has to be a conservative message really, as much as it is like an economic message for me. And so I think there's like a leftist way to get to that same conclusion. But I think that for Charlton Heston, this is like, this is the feeling that leads up to Ronald Reagan in 1980 and the New Conservatives, and like Morning in America is like, oh no, the nuclear family is dying because no one has any values anymore. Not that we have an oppressive economy that funnels money to the top. This is a full-on leftist episode of Bloodhaus, I guess.
Which one isn't, first of all?
So I think in like a Ronald Reagan kind of vision of America, he would imprint that on this movie.
Okay. Well, then that takes me one step further. Do you think the Gipper saw Night of the Living Dead? Speaking of old Hollywood actors. Yeah.
I do, actually. I do. And I think he would like it also for the same reason.
You don't think either of them would be grossed out by the munching down on cow organs?
Good point. I think Ronald Reagan is too conservative, lowercase c conservative in this case, to enjoy the movie, actually. Charlton Heston, I still think likes it. Yeah,
I feel like Charlton Heston, big outdoorsy gunman. He was like the head of the NRA. Like, I think he would be into the brutality of this movie. I think he'd be into that. The Gipper, maybe, but I think more often than not would be like, well, mommy, can we put on? Can you finish it?
Ronald Reagan calling Nancy Reagan mommy is so disgusting. But it's real.
It's real. Oh, fucking, what is it? Was it H.W. Bush that called his wife mother or something like that?
I think so, yeah. It's so weird.
Well, mommy, this one's a little too gross.
That's it. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you. There were not enough jelly beans at Halloween to get him through this one.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Bloodhaus. Please rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky, or Letterboxd. Drusilla, where are you?
You can follow me over on Letterboxd, and you can see all the kind of like comfort movies I've been rewatching while I'm moving and packing because I don't have time to don't focus on anything. And you can also find my work over at sisterhidedesign.com. I'm crazy busy right now, and there should be some really exciting stuff coming out very, very soon. Something that we have done an episode on this podcast on related to. It will be up on my site soon and out in the world, and I'm really excited, but I can't say anything more than that at the time being. And so that's sisterhidedesign.com. Go there, keep that as a tab, and you can also follow me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Sister Hyde. What about you, Josh? What's the best way for people to pound into your home?
At Joshua Conkel on Blue Sky, Instagram, or Letterboxd. Next week, we are watching a movie by a legendary director that we both love. We both love this movie. Couldn't be more excited to talk about it. What is it?
We are leaving George Romero behind and going to see one of his friends over in Italy who recut Dawn of the Dead and made it better. The Italian maestro himself. We will be watching the postmodern giallo classic from Dario Argento, Tenebrae.
Can't wait. What a great movie.
Happy Pride. Everyone. Here comes the gayest giallo ever.
Yeah, exactly. Happy Pride. Thanks, everyone. See you next week. Bye.